Hello everyone. Welcome to 24 Hours of UX. So we are now at hour 21. We have 3 hours left. Okay, so if you are here, just give me some emotions. Click on the emojis down there at the bottom. Yes. If you are new, just go to this icon here. Click on that icon. And if you need some subtitles, just click on this subtitle here. So please drop me some kind of words in the chat box on the right-hand side here. Yes, just let me know where you are from, which part of the world you are from, what time is it, what the weather looks like, whether it's thunderstorm, snow, something like that. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay, so this is like towards the end of the 24 hours of UX. Basically, in total, we have 20 talks in 2 tracks. The first track is the UX in practice, which is more practical. And the second one is on the elevating UX, more on the strategy level. And total keynotes, we have 6 keynotes. I think there's only one left at the end of the session. That will be in hour 23 or 24. Workshop, we have ongoing workshops now. I'm not sure whether you can still join in. You can try your luck by, looking at the button. If there's available buttons there, why not trying that? So we have our lovely Phoebe. She is the founder for the Colearnla. And right now she's in Hong Kong. Okay, so I'm going to pass this floor to you, Phoebe.
Great.
But I will be back at about 5 minutes before the end of the session later.
Sure. So
I'm going to disappear now, but don't worry, I will be here all the time.
Great. Thank you. All right. Great. 早晨. Good morning, everyone. This is Phoebe from Hong Kong. So let's start with a quick introduction about me. So I'm a product UXer raised and born in Hong Kong, educated in the UK, currently on a product design adventure, and I have some interest in UX cybersecurity too. Also, I'm a community product builder, which I'm actively building different products for the community, for the UXers in Hong Kong, such as Colearnla. So today I'll be using one of Colearnla's format, which is a bite-sized experience sharing session. So it's very simple. We'll usually start with an introduction, so pretty much like now. And then there will be a 12 minutes long bite-sized experience sharing, so me talking purely. And then there'll be a Q&A session, so your turn to share any questions you have. So you'll be able to find your the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your screen if you're on desktop. So do drop your questions there relating to maybe the content I'm about to share with you today, as well as maybe any challenges that you face during your non-stop learning adventure. So towards the end, there will be a quick feedback session, which I really like to hear back from you on today's, what you think about something you like and something you wish. I'll get back to that into a little more details later. So today's topic, how I designed my non-stop learning experience by building communities. So back in 2019, I built the very first community product or community called Testla. So Testla is a speed dating like UX testing community. At the time, I was a UXer working as a team of one in a startup. I think that's quite a typical story for a lot of people. And at the time, I was like, I really wish to have a space for testing. So am I the only one thinking that? If not, maybe it's time to get it together as a community. So for people to bring their product along to collect user feedback, but also a space for people to practice their research skills. So I did started Testla with some help from my friend Pascal, who supported us with the venue. So overall, we host about 11 events in total, and due to the pandemic, we did shift from on-site to online. So we had a few online sessions, but we soon realized that people are more interested to join Testla as an on-site event. So we decided to pause for a while, and hopefully we will bring it back to the community in a very near future. That didn't really stop me, but instead I was looking for other ways to learn some new skills and probably to build other community products for the UXers here. So what I did, so when I was brainstorming what to do next, I realized that there are a lot of great UX and product related content available online in English, but not a lot in Cantonese. I mean, I know, yes, yeah, Cantonese is probably a niche market, but I always think that if you feel someone else is going to do something, and if we all think that way, nothing will happen. That's what I kind of believe. So I started the first Cantonese product UX podcast for Desighla to share international and local UX related content in Cantonese. I set myself a goal to run it for at least 3 months weekly, then see what happens. So after 3 months of hard work and commitment, I found that podcast is a great way to practice, to summarize the things that you've learned and translate it into something that's a more shareable format for other people. But as you can imagine, podcast is like a one direction thing. I really miss the human interaction and conversation with other UXers. So with that sort of simple idea in mind and wanting to have more conversation with other UXers, I started Colearnla, which is like today's focus, by the way. So it's the first casual peer-to-peer co-learning community in Hong Kong. So we meet up on a monthly basis and to discuss different UX topics together. So how I built it. So when I first, I had this, I think it's a great idea in mind, but I was a little bit nervous and thought if people will like the idea. So what I did was I invited some UXer friends to join me for the very first session. So yeah, I tested with friends. So it was, at the time, it was 2020, December. So what's a great topic to talk about, I was thinking. So we started the first session with to talk about the UX trend 2021. That way, there's not a lot of preparation work, but as well, it's actually like for me to think about how to kickstart the conversation and to find out whether people like the idea of co-learning and having some discussion together. So that was that. And if they like the idea and what kind of format they would like to run it in and what kind of topics they would like to discuss. So the first session was actually super important for us because it helped us to think about what kind of formats and et cetera, et cetera. So now Colearnla is getting more and more interesting because we have different formats. So we have more serious discussion, casual, and practical. So it's a mix of everything. So for serious discussion, we talk about bigger topics such as ethical design. But we also have like a very hands-on experience sharing sessions. So we invite designers at like whether you're junior, you're senior, your manager level to come along and share like on the same subject matter. So previously we share about personas. So hands-on persona at work was our theme. And also we invited some people from outside of the UX bubble, as I describe it. So we invited the Hong Kong Blind Union to come and share how they work on the accessibility projects with their clients and businesses. So a few months ago, our discussion lead mentioned that she really wanted to attend a fuck up night, and she can't find it. She didn't know like whether we can host this kind of events. And I was like, yeah, just go for it. So we did. We host like the super casual, less preparation work for us event, the fuck up night. But it was a very, very inspiring session for us to hear different stories from different people. And last and not least, the practical part, we like to get things like pretty hands-on. So, and whiteboard challenge is an idea that's spreading very, very slowly here in Hong Kong, but we are seeing it's happening. As we are so curious to see how it works, and we wanted to experience it ourselves too. So we hosted the first whiteboard challenge session together, where when UXers come along, they'll be split into a group of 3. So there was 3 different challenges, and with role plays too. So these 3 designers or people who come along and join us will be split into designer, product owner, and observer. So the key idea is for everyone to have a chance to practice the design challenge for once, and also to practice it under pressure, as well as like hearing feedback from the peer group. I think that's something quite important for us to learn how to share feedback and how to listen to the feedback. And by the way, an exciting challenge is coming up as I've designed a Beyond Screen Design Challenge. So if the weather and the COVID-19, everything goes well, we'll be hosting our first face-to-face meetup. So the magic to build ColeArena is to listen and observe what the local UXer needs and to think about the type of support that I can sort of provide as a community organizer. So, which leads me to the next point, what lessons I've learned as an organizer. So there are two big points I wanted to share with you today. So the first point is how to position the community. So as you can probably tell, when I first started it, everything was a bit blurry, like the format, the style. But as we go along, like things get a bit clearer. So now I can share with you that ColeArena is a first space. It's not home, it's not work environment, but a safe and experimental space for Hong Kong UXers to find inspiration and community support, but also to practice things together, get hands-on, fail fast, and I believe that's how we grow faster together. And the possibilities are endless here. Also, there's a bit about the flat culture, because from my observation, a lot of the communities are pretty top-down, and I really hope to provide a stage for users at any levels to shine and to speak. The second point, the successful metrics. Somebody asked me that question at the very beginning of when I tried to create this product, this community. So I didn't really have an answer at the time, but I'm happy to share with you now that for me as an organizer, the successful metric for creating a community like this is to create positive value, and seeing that positive values for the co-learners to bring that energy to their workspace and to other users, just to inspire others. But also, when I see co-learners making suggestions and willing to take part and contribute back to the community, that's another thing I love to see, and I'm seeing this happening again and again now. So lessons I've learned at an individual level. So definitely I gained some confidence by doing this. Like I couldn't imagine myself speaking to you in front of all these people. I don't see you visually, but yeah, anyways, in an event like this. But also peer support. Sometimes when I try to learn something new, I might get bored or I might get lost. But with this peer group support, it definitely helped me to stay focused and keep the momentum going. And the power of people's stories. I learned so much by listening to other people's stories, especially they're from different stages of their adventure. So sometimes it's a great reminder to hear how I was like maybe at an earlier stage and what could potentially happen when I reach a certain level or certain stage of my adventure. So that's a quick overview of my non-stop learning experience. And I believe now it's your turn. So what was your non-stop word learning experience like? Do share in the chat. And if you have any questions, please put that in the Q&A. I'll try to answer them too. And if you have any challenges you face during your non-stop learning adventure, do shout out as well. We might not be able to solve all the problems today, but I think if you float a question out there, somebody else in the community will be able to help. So yeah, Q&A.
You can, to the audience, you can actually, at the bottom of the screen, you can see like the hand gesture like this. So you can click on that hand. So I can bring you up to the stage as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We have plenty of time. So we can do that. You can share your own experience having like identical but not similar experience like Phoebe in your own country, in your own locality. So we would love to hear that as well.
So we have one question here. What are a few obstacles you have faced when attempting to build communities, especially in Hong Kong, a location like Hong Kong where UX is still relatively a niche field? Good question. Let me think. Building communities. I think I have a lot of obstacles. I think the major blockers are you're not trying, because I think as long as you try, and if you're really obstacle or like not sure about things, do you test it with friends first? Because I think that's when you find out whether people like the idea or not. Just like how I sort of started everything, like even with Tesla or with Colearnla, I just have, like, usually I just have this idea and get it out there and talk to a few friends. I mean, like some friends may have like larger network. Like for the friend who supported me with Tesla, he was working in HSBC, so he was able to share a venue with us for like evenings. So I'm not sure, like as you probably know, like the rent in Hong Kong is pretty expensive, and that was a lot of help with some support from the local friends. So that's one thing, like find friends, talk to somebody first and see if they're interested, and then and then start with a small group. And I mean, I think worst case it's like people don't like it, or like, but if that's the case, at least you have tried. That's my belief. Like if you don't try, you never get anywhere. Any stories on how a person completely new to UX become inspiring after attending the event? So a person can be. So we have somebody who is very new to the industry, who attended one of our events. It was I think it was the fucked up night. But I think it's interesting to see how it's interesting to see because we keep the structure quite flat. So I think he was comfortable enough to share his concerns in front of others. I think that's quite good to see. As and we also make some connections there. So afterwards, I know he sort of approached some of the attendees for other conversations, like on UX related, maybe portfolio reviews, etc. So I think that's quite good for them to take a big step to talk to some of us, and I think it's just space for people to ask questions that we're trying to create here as well.
Yeah, it's a good networking space.
Yeah. A casual one.
Yeah. So we have a question from Melanie.
Yeah, I also run a design sprint community online with over 800 members from around the world. My biggest challenge is keeping more events running and accommodating different time zones. What's the best way to do it? I got to be perfectly honest with you. I haven't really tried running events across different time zones yet. Probably the next thing to do on the to-do list. What would be the best way? I guess maybe some people from the 24 hours of UX can share that questions, the answers with you. Any takes?
We actually have Peter raise his hand just now, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not because of this, but perfect dovetailing in. So thank you very much for that, Phoebe.
Yeah.
One of the important things is not to sleep. That's very important, especially if you're doing the 24-hour thing. I think that this time zone thing comes up already with a simple meeting. If there's like people from 3 different time zones already struggling with it, what I would propose is that you settle on your main audience. And because there will be very few times that really work super well for everyone, or you'll need to live in a very lucky time zone to be able to, accommodate, London noonish time and your local 6 p.m. because you need to be lucky to have that kind of setup. But otherwise, dedicate, you're like, okay, my main target will be people here in my city or people in London or wherever, and focus on that one, because you otherwise won't be able to do it. Or the other thing could be to try something asynchronous. So instead of a live event, maybe you can have a small YouTube series or podcast that is specific. And I think that now we've come really to the point where there is too much content out there for people to consume. It's super easy to create content, which everybody hails, but at the same time, it is really a challenge as well for not just the producers of it, because there's a lot of competition, but also for the consumers of it, because there really is just so much out there that you can there's so much time that I can spend on learning. So you need to be very specific. And today we had someone who I think I think it was our 2 or 3 XOps today, who are an online community based out of Minsk, and they focus on design ops and product ops. And what they're doing is they are doing some original content as well, but they're really focusing on curating all the content out there around their specific topic. And you need to be more and more hyper specific, depending, of course, on your community. I mean, we here in Geneva, where I'm based, our community is focused not just on user experience design, but also on digital strategy, because it's a small market. In Geneva is not it's not a San Francisco size city. San Francisco is the size of Switzerland, not of Geneva. And in that case, you might need to go broad, but it depends really on which city you're based. So either go, hyper specific and then go global, or if you want to stay local, see what there's a gap in.
Thank you, Peter.
Great.
We have 3 more questions.
Yeah.
Which
So
one do you want to?
could you describe more how Testla works? You recruit many users to test the product or different products together. So the idea is we put the event online, and then people can sign up as a product owner or a tester. So usually we get maybe 8 or 9 products per session, and then there'll be different testers who come along. So how it works, so we pair up the tester and the product on one table, and then they'll spend 15 minutes together. So to test the product, or if it's a user interview, they can do that too. So the 15 minutes is all theirs. And then after that, we will rotate. So from product A, you'll go to product B as a tester. So in one evening, you'll be able to test about 4 to 5 products, depending on the attendance rate. I hope that answers your question. Any insight? So the next question, any insights and experience you would love to share related to UX writing and collaboration between UXers and the UX team? I think UX writer is actually another topic, or UX writing is another topic that I'm personally very interested in, and I'm hoping to invite some UX writer to come along and do a quick experience share session with us in the future. That's something we would like to see as well, because I know just culturally in Hong Kong, a lot of times we'll probably manage from UX and UI, so it's like an all-in-one position for a lot of companies. So UX is still quite a small department in a lot of companies. So for companies which has UX writer, which is more like bank or insurance here. So so it'd be great if I can invite those people along to join us. So that's on the to-do list. Thanks for raising that question. Maybe I'll just spend 1 minute to answer the last question. What's your inspiration to build those community, and what's your motivation? I'll say my motivation is really my randomness and curious about like new things that pop up. And also I do listen to our audience a lot because somebody else like that he mentioned that maybe we should do something more practical, more hands-on. And we took that advice and I was thinking what can we do with that comment. And at the time like whiteboard challenges popped up and we were like let's just do it. Because I'm so curious that I just wanted to test it out to see if that idea works. If that idea works, we will keep the format. If it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. So it's okay to fail, as I sort of mentioned at the beginning. I sort of keep things very casual. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, I would like to spend the last couple of minutes to let me get that to hear your feedback. So I've divided up into 2 questions. I'd like to hear maybe something you enjoyed from today's session. Maybe I'll give you 2 minutes just to write down, maybe in the chat. Let me time box. Yay.
So while waiting for that, just announcement to the audience.
Yeah.
So there will be a live session after this session. So you can just, if you want to leave, you can just click on your left-hand side on the arrow and go to the schedule. You can choose whichever live session that you want to join. And to the rest who wanted to stay, we can stay in this Q&A session.
So we are 1 minute 20 seconds. So
that's fine. We can finish off all the questions. We can. Yeah.
Let me see if there are other questions here.
We have any ideas how to encourage introverts to be more active or engaging in community event?
Let me see. I'm trying to find. That's a very good question because I think I am an introvert myself. You probably don't believe it because I'm quite talkative, but I think the thing about our event is that we make sure that for them when they join the session. So for example, today's sharing, usually we'll have the Q&A time. So they will type out the questions like how we are doing it today. But sometimes I'll invite them to come on stage and give an introduction about themselves. Then they will go into the question that they post, but also maybe to elaborate on the questions that they mention. So I think it's a great way for them to feel more comfortable in a sort of strange space. I'll describe it. And also when we were doing the fuck up night, so what I did, I was the first one to share, just to sort of set the theme and make sure that our audience is comfortable in sharing in that space. So and they get a sense of what it is and what to expect. So that's what I did at the time. So time's up for this question, and so the next question I have is I wish. So I'd like to ask you maybe to spend a minute to share anything you wish. Maybe you wish to hear more about, or maybe areas that you think I can improve. So I really appreciate your honest opinion. So maybe I'll give you a minute now. Okay, so let's see if there are other questions.
There was one from Gwen. Can we talk about creating relational interfaces? How is collaboration different in this case?
When we talk about creating composition interface, how is the collaboration? I don't have any experience work on the composition interface yet, but when you're regarding to how is it collaboration different in this case? What does that regards to? Is it regarding to in the testing event or not exactly sure. Could you elaborate a bit more on a question, Nancy?
Vinay, you can actually press the button at the bottom of the screen
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see the raise hand so we can actually bring you up to the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, while waiting for Vinay to raise hands, we just want to tell the audience that we actually have a spin-off podcast, 24 minutes of UX. You can just go to 24minutesofux.com and register there if you want to sort of meet up with the UX givers and also the UX seekers, sharing your ideas for 24 minutes. You can always do that too. So it's like an ongoing things that we are doing for the community. So yeah.
I've just got like 2 more slides to go through, and
Okay.
so lastly, I would very much like to make a big thank you to the invisible, incredible team for all their support, like all the time. Also, a big thank you to the 24 Hours team for bringing this amazing event together. And yeah, let's connect. So this is my LinkedIn QR code, and do reach out if you wish to collaborate in any ways with So that's me.
Okay. So where can we follow Colearnla? Melanie is asking.
Oh, let me find the link. Sorry, forgot about that part. Give me one moment. I'll share it in the session. Okay, I'll pop that into the chat. So feel free to follow Colearnla in LinkedIn.
Okay. Right. I think they like the Tesla ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to do it again too, but it's like I think people still kind of prefer that happens when it's on site. So
Yeah. Do you know what you can do, Phoebe? You can always go to the 24 hours of 24 minutes of UX.com and register there, and we can actually connect you to these people who are interested more about Tesla. So it's a good visibility for you.
Yeah, I'd love to do it again. It's like a lot of fun, and then you get to see like different products, etc. Like in advance, I mean.
Okay.
Before it's launched.
Yeah. So due to the interest of time, I think we have to end this here. Thank you very much, Phoebe, for the amazing sharing, and also to the audience. Yes.
Thank you.
Share with you your emotion. Go to emoji and click whatever emotions you're feeling right now. Just label your emotions, which is actually a bit hard for us to do that. Thank you very much, everyone. So enjoy the rest of the hours. We actually have like 2 hours left. So all the best to everyone.
Great. See you around.
Bye.
Bye-bye.